Jacob here. So step one of my European world tour, destination number 1, Rome. As you can see, interestingly enough, the namesake for this city is Romeo and Juliet, but not as in the Baz Luhrmann movie with Leonardo da Vinci, but Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. It was written thousands of years ago, and the story is something to do with a bear that has to raise 2 boys, and one of them's called Romeo, one of them's called Juliet, and end up Romeo wins, and then he ends up getting the town named after him, and that's how all of the Romans started. And you know, I'm going to pick up a lot more history, interesting facts like that, and I'm going to share them with everyone. I'll keep you updated. Jacob out. Hello, Jacob here. So I'm walking around this so-called Spanish staircase in Rome. I know it sounds crazy, but the stairs here are Spanish and not Roman, which is really weird. It's kind of like going to Times Square in New York and finding out there's no giant clock, or going to Nelson's column and realizing there's no Nelson Mandela up there. It's kind of stupid and it's really confusing, and I don't know why they do it, but you know, the Romans do their own thing, don't they? Anyway, Jacob out. Hello, Jacob here. So, last night I walked past a really fancy looking bar, and apparently you have to wait up to 25 years on the waiting list before you're allowed entry. I walk past it, the doorman comes over to me and says, "We want you in here tonight." And I was like, fair enough. A few of the people in the queue were getting rather pissed off because they'd waited so long. I walked in, went straight up to the bar, said, "How much is an Aperol Spritz?" And they said, €15. And the second they said that, I walked out. Don't trust a place that does their Aperol Spritz for only 15. It has to be at least 25, then you know it's a good establishment. It doesn't matter how long you have to wait on the waiting list. If things like that aren't up to scratch, it's not worth it. Jacob out. Hello, Jacob here. So as you can see, I'm standing outside some Roman ruins. The Romans did a lot. They pretty much invented everything. They traveled all over the world. They got to, you know, Britain, they got to Romania, that's why it's called Romania. They got to America, that's why they ended up having like American football there or something like that. But, you know, one thing that I don't get is the Romans, for all the good stuff they didn't really look after the buildings so well. Every single building I've seen is fallen to bits. I don't get it. You know, British Empire buildings all stay together and they're still there now. It's the Roman ones just seem to fall to bits all the time. Hello, Jacob here. As you can see, standing outside the Colosseum of Rome. You know, millions of years ago, they used to have goblins and dragons fighting each other to the death, and that's the kind of shit the Romans were into. And weirdly enough, I just got kicked out. I was just trying to break off a brick and take it with me as a souvenir, and my guide caught up with me because I tried to ditch him, and he said, "You can't do that." And I was like, half the fucking thing's gone, mate. Why do you give a shit? And we had a little bit of a fight. He didn't end up calling the police in the end, but he was going to if I didn't go. But his tour was boring anyway. He made it sound rubbish. You know, that kind of stuff shouldn't sound rubbish. Look, Jacob here. So as you can see, I'm in the Vatican City. It's not really a city, it's very misleading. It's just a big, big building where the Pope lives. And as you can see, all these chairs are out. That's normally because the Pope comes out and waves to people and does stuff like that. And thousands of people come out to watch him wave. And, you know, it kind of annoys me a little bit. I could come out there and wave, and then I could give people advice and lessons on things and history and socialite vlogging and life coaching, and I could do that. So I don't know why they don't just let the platform for other speakers to come out and really kind of spread the word about what they represent as well. Why is it always the Pope? Jacob out. Hello, Jacob here. So I just came out of the Vatican Museum, and it was completely full of crazy stuff from all over the world, which didn't make any sense to me. In the British Museum, you go there and, you know, bread and got all that stuff because Queen Victoria used to just pretty much treat a country like Harrods, walk around saying, I want that statue, I want that, take that back to our museum, take that back to the museum. Whenever she went along picking stuff up. You know, I can't imagine the Pope doing that, but he must have done, because that place is full of stuff. It doesn't really make any sense. He's probably like, give me that or you're going to hell. That kind of thing, which isn't fair. At least with the British way of doing it, you know what you're getting. I'm having that, and there's nothing you can do about it. No trickery. Jacob out.